pressure.
Well, it seems that 6 months ago when we decided to put forward a session on artificial intelligence, it was a good choice because it's now a not-smoking topic, and I'm very glad to see so many people around. So let's have 1 hour session to go through this amazing new frontier, especially for collaboration and for contact centers. So I am Max Caranzano. Max, please, I know it's very difficult. It's taking 2 minutes just to speak my name, so it's not definitely a good idea. I'm part of the European Central Collaboration team. I'm 100% in the contact center business, where I look after, let me say, everything is innovation in the contact center. So, where to point the clicker. You can reach me on the WebEx team space dedicated to this session, available on the app. We can talk after the session. You can reach me when you go back. I will be very glad to be with you. Partners and customers to help you and to support you in understanding and deploying artificial intelligence into your collaboration solutions. So today what we are going to do in 1 hour, and being Italian, that's my main challenge. I'm trying to cover and touch a little bit all the different angles of this new opportunity. So from the market, the trends, the architecture view, and then going deeper into the use cases, product and the solutions we have developed, the commercial and technology agreements we have, and finally the go-to-market. Okay, so it's going to be just a quick touch on each of these topics. Hopefully everything will come along together with a logic flow, but it's just examples of what this magic stuff we are working on is able to deliver today and will be able to deliver tomorrow. So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is what's happening here, why today we have a session on artificial intelligence here. Artificial intelligence is not something brand new, it has been around for a while. But what is new is a set of technologies powering artificial intelligence. I mean, machine learning, natural language understanding, and so on, which are today really offering incredible opportunity to enhance complex teamwork between people within enterprises. So today the new artificial intelligence technologies are offering something which was not available until a couple of years ago. And when I'm talking about complex teamwork between people, it's not just within the enterprise, but it's especially between enterprises. And I would say between enterprises and clients. And that's why artificial intelligence is so interesting for contact centers, because contact centers are about B2B and B2C. So that's really the reason. So when the intelligence made available by these new technologies mixes together in a single collaboration architecture with a context, and by context I mean the ability to pull out of a huge amount of data the right data. You need for the right people, at the right time, in the right place. That's when Cisco is talking about cognitive collaboration. So a cognitive collaboration architecture is meant to help people and technology to blend together, helping people to be more productive. For example, offloading people from repetitive tasks, which could easily be automated using artificial intelligence. Giving time back to people to unleash their creativity without spending time on boring, time-consuming processes that technology can take care of. And this is true for agents in the contact center, but it's also true for the employees in the enterprises. Okay? So I would say that when we talk about a cognitive collaboration architecture, we are talking about contact center, because this kind of setup is finding its natural environment in the contact center, because the contact center is about customer touch, it's about customer experience. It's the main driver of customer experience. And customer experience is today, I would say, the number one priority for leaders of businesses of any size. The number one priority, the thing they want to improve is customer experience. The IT tool to do that is the contact center. Absolutely. So this is transforming the contact center industry. It's changing the perception of the contact center being a cost for a company to be a strategic asset, to play the role of, a business driver, a competitive advantage. Let me give you a few examples. Artificial intelligence in a contact center can turn an agent into a super agent, simply by making the information, the knowledge, the context available to the agent to deliver a timely and accurate answer to the customer, also to difficult questions. Artificial intelligence can be used to, let me say, offload the agent from all these repetitive and, to be honest, time-consuming, boring tasks the agent should not take care about. The technology can do that. The agent should take care about the difficult ones. So this is also lifting up and changing the role of an agent in a contact center, to be more a consultant, to be more a customer advisor. Because if it's easy, it could be automated with technology. So it's really changing the industry. So this collaboration cognitive architecture is also, let me say, moving a contact center from being a kind of island within the infrastructure of a company, isolated island, to be full part of the IT infrastructure of an enterprise. Very often today, the technology is running on the contact center is running on a technology which is different from the one the enterprise is using on the internet to collaborate. It's disconnected. So, which means that the experts, they cannot talk to the agents, or they cannot talk easily to the agents. We should look at that as a whole picture. For example, if the enterprise is using WebEx Team as a collaboration tool on the internet, we could easily connect WebEx Team to the contact center. And therefore the agent, they could easily reach out to back office subject matter experts to get support to answer difficult questions. Leveraging a unique, unified architecture, let me say, a unique collaboration infrastructure. So we need to get the contact center out of its island and make it part of the whole overall strategy of the company. This morning we had two very interesting customer meetings, and we were talking 100% of the time about that. And that's where Cisco can play really a strategic role, because we have all the ties of the puzzle. We can pull together with our partners, with our technology partners, we can put together the big puzzle and offer a solution to business problems, and not just a product or, let me say, an isolated architecture. So, a collaborative cognitive architecture can definitely transform the customer experience, which, as I said, is one of the priorities of the business leaders. So it can really empower a company to move from delivering isolated customer experiences, disconnected customer experiences, for example, different by channel type. If the customer is reaching your contact center through a chat, the experience is going to be different from the other customer reaching the contact center with an audio call, or through a social media, etc. So the idea is to be able to really deliver a cohesive customer journey across channel types and not isolated individually. So the last acquisition of CloudShare is all about that, for example. But we can do much more than just that. So I would say artificial intelligence is adding really a lot of value to, especially to a contact center infrastructure. And don't forget the huge amount of data which is generated by a contact center, which is very difficult. It's well beyond the human capabilities. I mean, when you have terabytes of data, call recording, data from the CRM, from the IVR, from the ACD, etc. It's very difficult to correlate and to understand the business trends, the optimizations hidden inside those data. Artificial intelligence applied to data management can enable things like predictive analytics, which is one of the main drivers of business outcome, of business improvement. So those are just very simple snapshots and let me say examples of what artificial intelligence can really play to change the contact center industry. But I would like to have a dive deeper into artificial intelligence applied to an existing contact center with some examples of what we can do today, and then move from there to the products and to the use cases. So, we said that a contact center is a driver of customer experience. What are the customers looking for? Because we have always to start from the customer trends, the customer's opinion.
Well, customers today, they want to be independent when they access a contact center. They fundamentally want a self-service solution. They want to find by themselves the answers to their questions. And escalation to an agent is just the last option. We are all customers, we know that. We don't like to be sold things. What we love is to buy solutions to our problems. Customers love to buy solutions to their needs. Thus, the key to delivering amazing customer experience is to quickly resolve a customer problem. Ideally on the first contact, even better if it's through a self-service. Unfortunately, the legacy industry hasn't done a great job here.
Why is not doing a great job? So, if it's true that over a third of the incoming calls into a contact center requires more than 2 rounds of interactions with the agents to get the proper answer. And this is triggering a problem within the companies because 40% of those customers whose first contact is not ending with a good answer, they are looking for a competitive service. So this is not affordable by enterprises. The cost of acquiring a new customer today is too high to accept losing many customers. So this is really linking the first contact resolution into customer retention, and these two are linked into customer experience. And contact center is all about that. And artificial intelligence can offer a lot of solutions to these 3 problems. Which solutions? Well, for example, the new Conversational IVR, we'll talk about that, can easily enable super efficient self-service solutions. We can really roll very efficient self-service solutions into existing contact centers to let the customer find the answer to their question without the need to engage an agent. The agent will be just for escalation for the difficult ones. The easy one can be served by technology. Or creation of bots, robots, again to, let me say, take the easy questions without even engaging the customer, giving back time to the agent for the difficult ones. So you spend the agent where you need an agent. If it's a dummy, repetitive, well-known question, the bot can do that easily. And we will look at the economics of that in a contact center. Or you can assist an agent. An agent engaged with the customer can leverage artificial intelligence technology, for example, to get suggestions, to get the right information at the right time, to deliver a good answer to the customers. And this is going to reduce the amount of escalation to the experts you need, from the agent to the expert to resolve the question, to answer the customer needs. So these are examples why artificial intelligence is so compelling today. Now the analysts are even too much excited, because if you look at some analysts, they are saying that a huge, even insane percentage of incoming calls will be soon served by very sophisticated, complex artificial intelligence bots? Well, I would like to share my opinion with you about that. And it's a very pragmatic opinion based on my field experience. And it's slightly different. And the reason why I can say that is because artificial intelligence in contact center is such a good business case that you don't really need to make your life too complex. Let me go there. So, let me make an assumption. We target just a 10% optimization of your contact center server. And I will explain what I mean by that. But my point is, don't try to boil the ocean at your first experience with artificial intelligence by trying to really automate the most complex process you have in your company with the most sophisticated bot which is needed to do that. Not because it's not possible, but because it's not needed as first experience. Let me share with you a little bit about the economic. Just 10% optimization. What do I mean by 10% optimization? Well, I could mean that 10% of the incoming call will be served by a bot. So you don't need the agent. A bot will serve 10% of the incoming calls. But we could take a different angle. For example, we could say that 10% of the time an agent is spending on average with a customer will be served by a bot. Let me give you an example. Let's pick a booking service, whatever, booking an appointment with a doctor, booking a flight, etc. The first part of the call is always about collecting data, where you want to fly to, your departing airport, which day, what time, what is the class you're looking for. Those kind of information are very easy to automate with artificial intelligence in a contact center. It's very repetitive, very well structured. There are not so many flavors you have to deal with, so it's a very, I would say, simple implementation of artificial intelligence. Then once you have collected all this data, and you have already saved at least 10% of the agent time on an average call, you hand it over to the agent. And the agent is handling the most complex part of the discussion, where there could be exceptions, different flavors. You can talk about the weather in the city you are flying to, etc. The bot can do that, but it requires really an highly sophisticated implementation. But you achieve the 10% easily by doing it. Let's look at the economic. I'm considering a $1,000 total cost of ownership for an agent. You know better than me that in Western European countries that's a very conservative number. It's much more than that. So let's pick a very, let me say, small contact center, 1,000 agents. We're talking about $12 million per year, $1.2 million savings, 10% per year. But let's consider the life cycle of a contact center of 5 years, which is conservative, I would say. We're talking about $6 million savings. So these $6 million are the savings for the enterprise delivering the service, plus the budget to implement artificial intelligence technologies into the contact center. Trust me, there's enough. That's why artificial intelligence is today the number one priority. All the customers, all the managers in charge of the contact center are willing to talk about, because the business case is so good. The technology can offer such an improvement that it's really the number one priority they want to talk about. Not to mention if the contact center is slightly bigger than that. I had to write down those numbers, because without writing down those numbers, it wasn't clear to me as well. And I was in a customer meeting when they gave me the number, and I said, now I understand why I'm dealing with artificial intelligence. It's an incredible business case. Now, let's look a little bit to the technicalities, starting from the architecture. So what is the architecture to deal with the complex contact center, complex business automation project where we inject artificial intelligence? Well, we need to take into account different things. So there are certain building blocks of the architecture with their own dynamics we need to consider. So the first one is always the customer. The customer today is reaching contact center through multiple different channels, digital tools, any sort of chat, any sort of social, and of course, they're still using audio. Now, the dynamics of this business are the dynamics of the consumer market, of the smartphones. So they are very quick dynamics. And that's something we need to take into account. Then we have the Cisco infrastructure, which is evolving as well. All the customers today, or the vast majority, they have an on-premise solution. All the customers today are brainstorming about partial or full migration to cloud in the next 2 to 3 years. So that piece of the picture is evolving as well. Then we have the artificial intelligence with some leading players, where the IT vendors like Cisco, we do have our own in-house artificial intelligence components, but generally speaking, it's far to be a consolidated market. There will be an evolution. So Google will keep evolving the Dialogflow platform they have, as well as there will be others popping up. And finally, we have the data, the huge amount of data. CRM, knowledge base, whatever kind of data repository. Now the question is, in a good contact center modern architecture, how we pull all these things together? The answer has to be, and it's regardless Cisco, it's the right answer. It has to be through open APIs. It's through open APIs that you design a good architecture, flexible, versatile, agile, which will last at least for the next 5 years. Because if you have a change in the social media the customer is using to reach the contact center, you don't have to change the architecture. It will go through the open API without changing the architecture. If Google is going to announce Dialogflow, enabling one more service through that, if we talk through an open API, we don't have to change the architecture. It's coming through the API, so the architecture doesn't change. If you decide to move from a Cisco on-premise enterprise solution to a Cisco cloud solution, you don't have to throw away all the artificial intelligence investment you have done today, because the open API will be the same, so you keep it. This is a good design of an architecture for modern contact centers. There is one more point I would like to highlight here. The red box I put there, which I call, it's just my way to call it, a conversational engine, is where you orchestrate the teamwork between all these APIs to make it work. This could be a product, this could be the Cisco CDP, for example, we'll talk about that. Could be the Cisco ECE, or could be a third-party product. Most likely, in 99% of the cases, there will be some customizations on top of that product. Because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to map a customer business process into an automation, artificial intelligence solution for that without customization. And that's the message, especially for partners. Okay? It's no longer system integration, it's more than system integration. Now Cisco is going to help, of course, our partners and our customers to keep it as easier as possible. We have just announced a strategic partnership we have been working on with Google moving forward, which is the leading vendor in the artificial intelligence market. And this strategic partnership will let our partners, together with our customers, pick the best artificial intelligence tiles to build your solutions from Cisco available technologies coming from voice acquisition, mind melt, etc. And combine or pick the Google Dialogflow solutions, combine together to deliver the solution to you. So as you can see, even from this point of view, we have an open approach, because we are conscious that's a big advantage. We go to market through our partners, so the go-to-market is also important. So we have not just signed a technology partnership, we have signed a commercial partnership with Google, which means that the Google Artificial Intelligence Services will be available also through the Cisco prices, through the Cisco partners. So a Cisco partner can deliver a combined artificial intelligence contact center as one bill, one list of SKUs to the end customer buying the necessary artificial intelligence Google Cloud services through Cisco. Of course, if the customers already have a relationship with Google, they want to bring their own relationship into it, they can do maximum flexibility, but keeping an eye to the go-to-market, to streamline the go-to-market and keep it simple. The technology is already complex enough, and if we can keep the go-to-market simple, that's really great. There are a lot of details I would need half an hour to talk about. Something is in the rest of the presentation. There is an email alias. Please, we just announced today. We'll be very glad to share with you what's part of the agreement today to discuss the future roadmap, etc. Case by case, just reach out to us. Let's have a look at some use cases and examples of what we can do. So, this is the first one. This is an agent assistance service. So in this case, artificial intelligence is not meant to replace the agent, but is meant to assist the agent, to make the agent job easier, to make the agent more productive. And I would say it's a typical case I'm facing in all the customers, because I work in Europe, but to be honest, it's not just a European challenge, it's a worldwide challenge. So we keep saying that the world is flattening, that the market is global, but there are certain barriers which are not going away. We speak different languages. And that's a difficulty, if not a barrier for business. If you are a company worldwide and you want to service customers in different countries, and you are not just in B2B, where maybe you can expect everybody speaking English. If you are in the B2C, even if the customer is able to speak English, they will never call a contact center in English. They will always call a contact center in their mother tongue language. This problem is not going away, it's not disappearing. To be honest, with the immigration and etc., in certain verticals like the public sector, is getting worse and worse, because you have to deal with more languages to deliver your services. I always use these slides to remind that in Europe, just in the Union, we speak 24 different languages. If we look at the continent, we speak 200 different languages. So it's by definition a barrier to business. Artificial intelligence in a contact center can offer a wonderful solution to what is not just a problem, it's a nightmare. And it's not a nightmare because you need agents speaking different languages, which, by the way, it's a huge cost. The problem is that even if you have a lot of agents speaking different languages, what about the workforce optimization? Which is, in a nutshell, how many agents I need to serve the traffic I have, the day of the week of the month, etc. It's not only how many agents, how many French-speaking agents, how many German-speaking agents, how many Italian, Spanish, English, and so on. And even if you have found the perfect formula, you have the best-in-breed technology for workforce optimization, you will always end up in a situation where you have all the German-speaking agents busy with two more, German clients in queue, and maybe the French ones doing nothing, simply because of the language. Let's have a look how we can plug in artificial intelligence into this nightmare and turn this into a wonderful advantage. So this is the architecture I'm using for the first demo. It's a Cisco Contact Center Enterprise. We're using ECE as a chat engine in this case. The customer is reaching the contact center through Telegram, but it's just an example. It could be any of the social chat tools you find out there. And what we're going to use is using Google, in this case, to offer an agent assist translation service for this digital Cisco Contact Center Enterprise solution. But I think showing that live is much better than talking too much about that, so it should be this way. Here we are. So this is my Finesse agent desktop in a contact center enterprise. Now let's pick my Telegram client. Jesus. That's a problem that artificial intelligence is not able to fix yet. So you see, the agent is getting an incoming chat from a dumb Italian who is saying, buongiorno, io ho bisogno di supporto tecnico. And this is what the agent is getting. He's getting a sentence in an unknown language. He has no idea even what the language is. The only thing we have to do, let's assume the agent is speaking English, but it's just an assumption because otherwise I can't answer in any other language. Okay? So the agent just has to invoke Google English, and the agent is just asking Google, please translate whatever language is that one into my language. That's all what the agent has to do.
At this point, the agent is free to reply to the client using his own language, English in this case, and without being worried about any translation, because the Google Cloud Translation Artificial Intelligence Service in between the two legs of the chat is performing the translation back and forth, and therefore is turning this into a natural chat conversation between two persons virtually speaking the same language, removing therefore the complexity of multiple languages from a digital contact center solutions like the Cisco one can offer when powered by Google Artificial Intelligence Services, like in this case.
What you can achieve today. Of course, this is not a product, just to make it clear. This is an example of the way you can plug artificial intelligence into a contact center. And now you probably understand better why I said that the red box will require some customizations. How we did that? So we have used the ECE, the Enterprise Chat and Email Cisco Chat Engine, which has an open API. And we have simply built a very simple web application to orchestrate the teamwork between that API, the Telegram API, the Finesse API, and the Google API. And that's the role of our partners. We'll talk about that. Okay, then move on. Let's talk about another example. Here we are talking about a virtual agent service. So in this case, artificial intelligence will be used to automate a process which is normally managed by an agent. I don't want to use the word replace the agent because it doesn't sound right, okay? But it's different from what we have done so far. So far was assisting an agent, now it's handling autonomously the incoming conversation from the customer. And then Cisco has developed a solution which is called Conversational IVR. The idea is very simple. So we have two pressures in this market. One is the pressure coming from the customer, looking for a better and better and better customer experience, regardless the digital or the traditional channels they're using. And on the other side, we have the pressure from the enterprises willing to reduce the cost. They don't want to hire twice the number of agents they need just because of the language challenge. The example just I gave you. How can we combine the two needs together and find a solution thanks to artificial intelligence? Well, one good idea is search services, developing good search services solution. And we can do that, absolutely, and the Conversational IVR is about doing that. Now, let's have a look at the details of the use case. The traditional IVR today is fundamentally a very static tree of options. I mean, each of us went through the frustrating experience of dialing into a contact center and having to hear about 10, 20 different options before you find the right one you have to digit in order to get served. It's very frustrating, but it's not just frustrating for the user, whose customer experience is not that great, certainly. It's also frustrating for the enterprise, because maybe they have a broad portfolio and they would need 40 different options to serve their customer. But you cannot build a static tree with 40 different options. So they start, stacking different sub-menus, one on top of the other, but the end result is more or less the same. I mean, you have to go through maybe 4 menus before you reach the option, if you are unlucky, which is at the bottom of the tree, and you touch that and you finally get your answer. That's so frustrating. And it's a limitation of the technology. It's a kind of a short blanket. If you put too many options, you cover the portfolio you have, but the quality of the service is terrible. If you don't put enough options, you may just, cover a few questions or a few products in your portfolio. But Conversational IVR has a completely different approach. The Conversational IVR, which is available in our software release 12.5, available in a few days, and we can talk also a little bit about backward compatibility. It's an IVR powered by artificial intelligence, and the main difference is that you can speak to the IVR. Don't get confused, it's not a voice IVR. A voice IVR, you simply voice the option. You don't touch the dial tone, you voice the option, but it's still a static tree with all the limitations I spoke about. A conversational IVR is something you talk to. You speak to the IVR and you ask the IVR what your need is. So fundamentally, if the option you have is sitting at the bottom of the tree, because you speak to the IVR and you speak that option, that intent, the IVR will jump start to that option. You bypass, you shortcut all the different menus, etc. And in a matter of seconds, you get the answer you're looking for. At the same time, because it's so smart, it's so intelligent, the enterprise can make it big and bigger and bigger to cover all the intents they want to serve with a self-service solution. That's what we mean by a conversational IVR. It has a lot of advantages. Of course, the conversion time will be reduced. The tree is flattened in the sense that the customer can really shortcut and go to the last option of the tree without having to go through all the sub-menus. But it's also important because the artificial intelligence engine, the natural language understanding machine you are using to understand what the customer is looking for can be used across different channels. So it could be the same you have for a chat and for an audio call. Again, the importance of delivering the same customer experience across different channels. Other things very important. I mean, in a static IVR, if the customer is dropping because they don't find their options, you don't know. You simply don't know why the customer is dropping the call because you don't know they haven't found the option. In an artificial intelligence conversational IVR, you get reporting, so you get also advice, you get loggings from the artificial intelligence engine on maybe extra intents, extra options you need to add to your service to make it better, because your customers are different, so it's definitely more flexible, adaptive. Other things, voice. Voice is not just carrying the intents, it's carrying the sentiment, biometrics, information, the gender, and what else. Those are all things that you can use in a conversational IVR to decide the way you want to behave with your customer, and you cannot use in a static IVR solution where you just touch the dialogue. So those are just examples. A very important point, this conversational IVR comes in two flavors in our contact center enterprise solution. First of all, what we have done to enable that, we have simply developed a new software module, which is part of our CVP, Cisco Voice Portal, Virtual Voice Browser, and Call Studio solution, to natively talk to Dialogflow. So now the Cisco Contact Center Enterprise can natively talk to Dialogflow. And we can do that in two different ways. And that's very much important. So the first way is when we get the incoming call from the customer, we can stream the audio to Google Dialogflow and let Google Dialogflow handle the call. 100% of the call will be managed by Google, which means that also the logic of the dialogue, the logic of the conversation will be up to Google. We will get the call returned to Cisco only when Google is done. And that could be two cases. They have successfully managed the customer needs, so we just have to hang up the call, or maybe it's an escalation request to engage an agent. And at that point, we will pick the call, input the call into our queuing and routing system, and find the best agent to take that call. So that's the first way to set it up. What do we need that? Well, we need to consider a few things. The first thing we need to consider is that, as I said, the call control is always managed by Cisco. So the call is coming to Cisco first, and then it's going to Google. And when Google is finished, it's coming back to us. Even if we just have to terminate the call, it's Cisco terminating the call. So it's the call control is on our side. But even more important from a design point of view is the second piece. So as the dialogue management is in Google, if during this conversation with the customer you need to access external data, you need to store or to retrieve external data, wherever they are, in a repository, in another cloud solution, or in Google Cloud, this is happening between Dialogflow and between the data repository. It's not going through the Cisco Contact Center Enterprise. So that's really a design point we have to keep very much clear when we decide which of the two options we're going to pick. This option is very good, for example, for utility services. If your bot is just about collecting data like meter readings, etc.
Come back to your previous slide. If you want to consider full recording of PCI DSS issues, would you handle all of that by pushing that out, letting them process it before it then comes back into this?
I think the second use case is the answer to your question. So that's one example where probably this use case is fitting very well. You hand it over to Google, they're managing that, they're collecting all the data, etc. There is a second one, which is, in my view, very much important because it's very much backward compatible with the install base, because it takes care about privacy, it takes care about company rules about data management, especially customer data management, etc. And it's the following: when we get a call from Google, we break out the interaction with Google in different pieces. So we don't send a call to Google, we manage the call on a local script in the Cisco solution, as usual, I would say. So you have a script designed on Call Studio, stored on the CVP and executed on the virtual voice browser. Then within the script, so within the dialog management on Cisco side, within the script, whenever it's needed, we invoke Google to get their services. For example, we can invoke Google for advanced speech recognition. So we stream the audio and Google is coming back to us with a transcription of that text. Or we ask Google to synthesize the text. So we send the text and Google is coming back to us with the audio. We play it to the customer. Or we invoke Dialogflow for intent recognition. But at this point we forward a text to Google and Google is just returning to us the intent they have matched within that text. They are not managing the next action. They are not managing the dialog. The dialog is still on the Cisco side. It's still managed by the script. I will have 2 more slides to explain that a little bit better. So the difference is call control is still on our side. Very much important. The dialog management is still on CDP. So I would say it could be the one you are already running today. Okay? You don't have to turn this upside down. And the second part is also very much important. Whatever interaction you already have between the contact center and the repository of data, including privacy, including all the compliance stuff you may have already sorted out with the customizations, etc., could stay the same. Because you can still manage that exactly the same way. Let me explain you. And that's why this fits much better into all those cases where you have to deal with privacy, with compliances, etc., like financial, for example. I think the way to explain and give you a few more details is the following. What we have done is we have enhanced our script, IVR script, with 4 more modules. Using these 4 more modules from within the script, we can invoke Google. Here is the example. This is an existing script. You can enhance the existing script, invoking Google, so injecting artificial intelligence into the existing environment to take advantage of that. For example, here, we use the transcribe module, which means we send the audio to Google, and Google is doing the advanced speech recognition and returning the text to us. But you see that the next action is up to the IVR script we are running on the CC. So fundamentally, it's not changing from the setup you already have. In this case, we are using the Dialogflow intent recognition. So what we are doing, we are asking Google to tell us what is the option the customer is looking for. That's where the magic is happening. This is where you shortcut the big tree and you go straight to the option the customer is looking for. This one is where we collect the parameters we need for that specific actions to decide what to do. So this is really the logic. So it's really a teamwork between the Cisco Contact Center Enterprise solution, especially the scripting piece of the contact center, and dialog. So it has to be developed and synchronized in between Google and Cisco Contact Center to deliver the kind of magic we have been talking about. One word on the go-to-market, because I think it's very much important. So if you look at this picture, in Cisco, historically, we have been, let me say, developing our partners, even certifying and recognizing our partners based on their system integration capabilities. So the ability to design, roll, maintain all the different Cisco products and third-party products in a certain way to deliver a good service. But all what we have been talking about today is not just system integration. It's, especially here, but also there, it's software integration. So it's a new beast, it's a new set of skills the partner should have. And we have been talking with many partners also here for quite a while. How to develop those skills in order to deliver the solution to the customer. It's not a little change, okay? So from a customer angle, when you look at the partner able to deliver the magic of artificial intelligence to a contact center, just check that piece as well. It's very much important. The message to the partners is, if you don't have those skills in-house, well, you may have to decide to either develop those skills in-house or to partner with someone who has those skills, because you will need those skills, absolutely. And not just those. That's the ongoing discussion that we're having with Google now. I mean, developing a bot using Dialogflow, it's not something that you learn in a couple of days, especially if it's a complex bot. It's a new science, and it's a very narrow vertical technology expertise. It's what I used to call a boutique partner. So all these things should come together. So that's really important.
Okay, so now let's close with a glimpse of future. What I mean by that is a view of what's going to be available in a matter of a short time frame. Personally, I believe in a matter of few months, given the pace this technology is improving. It's a very interesting translation service, but this time it's an audio live call, which is placed through a Cisco Contact Center Enterprise, and it's streamed live to Google Artificial Intelligence Services in cloud. And Google is performing real-time out of the cloud 3 different functions. The first one is advanced speech recognition, turning an audio stream into a text. The second one is text translation into the requested language. And the third one is voice-speech synthesis using WaveNet technology. And the final audio, which is the synthesized translated text, is streamed back, echoed back to me in this case, just to be able to show the demo. So fundamentally, you will hear a kind of echoing translation service running live through a Cisco Contact Center Enterprise on-premise, leveraging Google Artificial Intelligence Services in cloud. So I hope you appreciate this is incredibly powerful, maybe not fully ready, mature enough for a lot of applications, but really literally behind the corner.
Welcome to Paul's multi-language CVP transcription test using Google. You say something and I will repeat it in a different language. Say goodbye when you're all done. To change language, just say speak followed by the language name. You start.
Speak Italian.
Adesso parlerò italiano.
Thank you, everybody.
Grazie a tutti.
This noisy environment is not the ideal one.
L'ambiente rumoroso non è l'ideale.
I hope you understand that this is a risk for my career.
Spero che tu capisca che questo è un rischio per la mia carriera.
Speak French.
Je vais maintenant parler français.
I hope you have enjoyed my session.
J'espère que vous avez apprécié ma session.
This is the end of my presentation.
Est-ce la fin de ma présentation?
Speak German.
Ich werde jetzt Deutsch sprechen.
Let me remind you to complete the evaluation form.
Ich möchte Sie daran erinnern, das Bewertungsformular auszufüllen.
My wife reminds you to think while doing that.
Meine Frau erinnert Sie daran, dabei nachzudenken.
Speak Dutch.
Ik zal in Nederlands spreken.
You can find my videos and my profile on LinkedIn.
Je kunt mijn video's vinden op mijn profiel op LinkedIn.
You can ask questions on the WebEx Teams.
U kunt vragen stellen over WebEx Teams.
Speak Spanish.
Ahora hablaré español.
Thank you very much to my colleague Marco and my colleague Paul.
Muchas gracias a mi colega Marco y Michael.
Have fun in Spain.
Diviértete en España.
It's a beautiful country of nice people.
Es un hermoso país de gente agradable.
Thank you very much.